The unexpected cargo. General Zaxos, Kelmentheri of the Vordelian hegemony, stood motionless on the command deck of his warship, the indomitable Claw. His 4 eyes, specialized for different light spectrums, were all focused on the small transparent containment unit that had been brought before him. Inside was something he had never expected to encounter during a routine border patrol: a human infant. "Explain this again, science officer," Zaxos commanded, his gravelly voice reverberating through the bridge. His exoskeletal plates shifted as he leaned closer to examine the small pink creature. Science Officer Treya approached cautiously, her slender form dwarfed by the general's imposing figure. "We discovered it aboard a damaged transport vessel at the edge of the quantum rift, sir. The ship was of unknown origin, not matching any registered human or allied designs. This specimen was the only survivor." The infant, surprisingly, did not appear distressed. Instead, it gazed around with curious blue eyes, occasionally reaching toward the containment field with pudgy fingers. Zaxos noted that unlike most captured species, it showed no fear, only interest. "Is it dangerous?" Zaxos asked, though the question seemed absurd given the creature's diminutive size. "Preliminary scans indicate standard human biology, sir. However," Treya hesitated, her voice dropping slightly, "there are some anomalies in its neural patterns, and the containment field has experienced 3 unexplained fluctuations since we brought it aboard." As if responding to these words, the baby cooed and the lights on the bridge dimmed momentarily before returning to normal. The ship's artificial intelligence system chimed an alert. "Minor power fluctuation detected. Source unknown." Zaxos narrowed his primary eyes. "That's the 4th incident. Coincidence?" "Improbable, General," Treya responded. "We found identification data in the wreckage. The infant is designated as Ariadne Novastorm. Our databases contain limited information on human naming conventions, but a partial match for Novastorm exists in our records." Before Treya could elaborate, the containment field flickered again. This time, it wasn't just a flicker. The entire field collapsed. Alarms blared as the baby levitated slightly, surrounded by a faint blue aura. Every screen on the bridge displayed the same image: a stylized nova explosion. "Containment breach," shouted the security officer, raising his weapon instinctively. "Hold your fire," Zaxos ordered, raising a clawed hand. "Treya, explain." The science officer was frantically reviewing data on her pad. "Sir, the Novastorm lineage. They're not ordinary humans. According to fragmented records from the last Galactic Council, the Novastorms are descendants of the first human quantum engineers. They pioneered integration between human consciousness and quantum probability fields." The baby, Ariadne, giggled as data streams swirled around her like cosmic ribbons. She reached for them as if they were toys, and wherever her fingers touched, ship systems responded. Navigation charts appeared, disappeared, and reconfigured themselves. "She's interfacing with our systems," Treya whispered in disbelief. "Instinctively, without any technology." The legends were true. Zaxos stood transfixed. In all his centuries commanding the hegemony's forces, he had never encountered anything like this. Humans were considered physically weak, technologically behind several other species, and generally unremarkable except for their inexplicable tenacity. But this changed everything. "The child is manipulating quantum probabilities," Treya continued. "The Novastorms were rumored to have evolved beyond needing technology for such manipulations. Their children were said to be born with the ability to perceive and influence quantum states directly." "Why have we never encountered such humans before?" Zaxos demanded. "They disappeared during the Centaurian conflicts, sir. Most believe they were exterminated or fled beyond known space. Finding one of their offspring is unprecedented." Suddenly, the ship's communication system activated without command. A transmission broke through their encrypted channels with impossible ease. A stern human face appeared on the main viewer, a woman with silver-streaked hair and eyes that matched the baby's unusual blue. "This is Admiral Elena Novastorm of the Earth Quantum Fleet. You have my granddaughter. Return her immediately, or I will personally ensure that your ship exists in all possible quantum states of destruction simultaneously." The bridge fell silent. The baby clapped her hands in delight at the familiar face, causing several navigation consoles to transform into elaborate holographic mobiles. "Your granddaughter has demonstrated remarkable abilities, Admiral," Zaxos replied carefully. "We retrieved her from a damaged vessel of unknown origin. May I inquire how such a valuable child came to be alone in restricted space?" The Admiral's expression darkened. That unknown vessel was a quantum jump pod designed to protect her during emergency translocation. Her parents were researchers studying the quantum rift when your border patrol triggered their defensive measures. The pod was programmed to seek the nearest safe haven if separated from its escort. Zaxos felt his secondary hearts constrict. This wasn't just a diplomatic incident. It was potentially the start of an interspecies war with a power they clearly didn't fully understand. "We meant no harm to the child or her family," Zaxos said, straightening to his full height. "I offer my personal apology and guarantee her safe return." "Unnecessary," the Admiral replied. "I'm already here." Before Zaxos could respond, reality itself seemed to fold inward at the center of the bridge. A doorway opened in space, not through technology, but through what appeared to be pure will, and Admiral Novastorm stepped through, accompanied by two other humans whose eyes held the same unnatural blue glow. The baby squealed in delight, floating toward her grandmother. The Admiral's stern expression softened as she embraced the child. "The Novastorm family has existed in secret for generations," Elena explained, looking directly at Zaxos. "We've chosen isolation to develop our abilities without interference or exploitation. Ariadne is the first of a new generation, one with even greater connection to the quantum realm." Zaxos found himself fascinated rather than threatened. "I've never seen humans capable of such feats. Your species continues to surprise me, Admiral." "That's our specialty, General," Elena replied with the hint of a smile. "Humanity's greatest strength has always been our unpredictability." As the Admiral prepared to leave with her granddaughter, Zaxos made a decision that would alter the course of galactic politics. "Admiral Novastorm," he said formally, "I would like to propose an official dialogue between your people and the Vordelian hegemony. There is much we could learn from each other." Elena studied him with eyes that seemed to see beyond physical reality. "Perhaps. But first, we have much to discuss about your border policies and the fate of my daughter and son-in-law." Ariadne cooed and reached toward Zaxos with a tiny hand. As her fingers brushed his armored forearm, he felt a strange sensation, as if seeing infinite possibilities unfold before him. In that moment, the fearsome General Zaxos Kelmanthari, conqueror of 12 star systems, understood that everything was about to change. Legacy of Stars. The diplomatic vessel Quantum Harmony drifted in neutral space between Vordelian and human territories. Inside its central chamber, General Zaxos sat across from Admiral Elena Novastorm, both leaders surrounded by advisors and security personnel. Between them, playing with quantum light patterns that danced in midair, sat little Ariadne. 3 standard months had passed since the incident aboard the indomitable Claw. What had begun as a potential interspecies conflict had evolved into the most significant diplomatic breakthrough in recent galactic history. "Your proposal has merit, General," Elena acknowledged, reviewing the terms on the holographic display. "A joint research initiative into quantum dimensional physics could benefit both our peoples." Zaxos nodded, his exoskeletal plates gleaming under the chamber's ambient lighting. "The discovery of Ariadne's abilities has forced my government to reconsider many assumptions about humans. Your species has hidden depths." A small smile played across Elena's face. "We've had to hide those depths for centuries. The Novastorm lineage learned early that our abilities made us targets, During the Centaurian conflicts, my great-grandparents led our family into self-imposed exile beyond charted space. As they spoke, Ariadne created intricate patterns in the air, miniature galaxies swirling with accurate stellar formations. Despite being barely a year old by human standards, her control over quantum probability fields was growing more refined daily. "She's extraordinary," Zaxos observed. "I've reviewed the recovered data from your daughter's research vessel. Their work on quantum harmonization was decades beyond anything our scientists have achieved." Alina's expression darkened momentarily. "Lyra and Marcus were our best researchers. Their loss is—" She paused, composing herself. "We've confirmed they survived the initial encounter with your patrol, but became trapped in a probability cascade trying to protect Ariadne. We believe they exist in a quantum state between realities, and you believe this joint initiative might help recover them." Zaxos asked. "It's our best hope," Alina confirmed. "Ariadne is somehow still connected to them across quantum states. She's the key." As if understanding, the baby girl turned toward them, her eyes momentarily shifting from blue to something infinite, like looking into multiple universes simultaneously. The lights throughout the chamber pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. "The Hegemony Council remains divided on this alliance," Zaxos admitted. "Many fear what a race of quantum-manipulating humans could mean for galactic power structures. Some have suggested more permanent solutions to the perceived threat." Alina's eyes hardened. Those individuals would find their atoms existing in very uncomfortable probabilities if they attempted such solutions. "Which is precisely why I've advocated for cooperation rather than conflict," Zaxos replied. "I've lived long enough to recognize when evolution takes an unexpected turn. The Nova Storm lineage represents something beyond conventional warfare or diplomacy." Their conversation was interrupted when Ariadne suddenly stopped playing and turned toward an empty section of the chamber. Before anyone could react, reality rippled, and two shimmering, translucent figures materialized, a human man and woman, their forms shifting between solid and ethereal. "Lyra, Marcus," Alina gasped, rising from her seat. The figures seemed unable to fully materialize, their voices coming through as fragmented whispers. The woman, Lyra, reached toward Ariadne, who giggled and reached back. Where their fingers almost touched, streams of quantum data flowed visibly. "They're trapped between dimensional states," Alina explained, voice tight with emotion. "Ariadne can sense them, but we haven't found a way to stabilize their quantum signatures." Zaxos watched in fascination as the child interacted with her parents across dimensional barriers that should have been impenetrable. In that moment, an idea formed, one that went against centuries of Vordelian military doctrine, but felt inexplicably right. "The Ancient's resonance chamber," he said suddenly. Alina turned to him sharply. "What?" "On my homeworld, beneath the capital city, lies a chamber built by the founders of our civilization. It's said to exist simultaneously in multiple dimensional states. We've studied it for millennia without fully understanding its purpose. Perhaps." Zaxos looked at the phantom figures of Lyra and Marcus, then at their remarkable daughter. "Perhaps it was waiting for the right kind of minds." "You would grant us access to your most sacred historical site?" Alina asked, clearly shocked by the offer. "I would grant access to the Nova Storms," Zaxos clarified, "under my personal supervision and protection. The chamber has never responded to Vordelian attempts at activation. Maybe it wasn't built for us at all." The implications were enormous, not just for rescuing Lyra and Marcus, but for understanding technologies predating both their civilizations. If successful, it would forge an unbreakable bond between humans and Vordelians. 3 weeks later, Zaxos stood beside Alina in the ancient chamber beneath Vordel Prime. The circular room was lined with materials unknown to modern science, inscribed with patterns that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. At the center, Ariadne sat within a carefully calibrated field, quantum energies swirling around her like a cosmic ballet. "The patterns match her neural oscillations," Alina observed, monitoring the readings. It's responding to her presence. Zaxos had risked everything for this moment. His position, possibly his life if the council decided his actions constituted treason. Yet watching as the ancient chamber awakened after eons of dormancy, he knew he had made the right choice. The Vordelian creation myths speak of beings who could walk between stars without vessels, Zaxos said quietly. We believe them to be allegorical. Now I wonder if they were describing something like the nova storms. The chamber's walls began to glow with increasing intensity, resonating with Ariadne's unique quantum signature. Dimensional barriers thinned as the baby girl reached out, not with her hands, but with her consciousness, searching for her parents across the quantum void. Contact established, announced one of the human scientists. Quantum signatures stabilizing. In the center of the chamber, the translucent forms of Lyra and Marcus Novastorm gradually solidified. The process was slow, painstaking, each atom being realigned from probability to reality. But it was working. The chamber isn't just a technology, Elena realized, reviewing the incoming data. It's a quantum waypoint, designed to navigate the spaces between realities. By whom? Zaxos wondered aloud. Before Elena could respond, the chamber pulsed with blinding light. When it faded, Lyra and Marcus stood fully materialized, eyes wide with disbelief. Ariadne squealed with delight, floating up into her mother's arms. You found us, Lyra whispered, clutching her daughter close. Her gaze moved from Elena to Zaxos, surprise evident at seeing a Vordelian general present. How? It's a long story, Elena replied with a smile. One that includes an unexpected alliance. Marcus approached Zaxos cautiously. You're far from what we expected when we began our research at the Quantum Rift Journal. As is your daughter far from what I expected to find during a routine patrol, Zaxos replied. She has changed perspectives. Later, as the reunited family rested under medical observation, Zaxos received the expected summons from the Hegemony Council. His actions would be reviewed, his judgment questioned. Yet watching through the observation window as little Ariadne slept peacefully between her parents, the ancient general felt a certainty he hadn't experienced in centuries. The universe was larger and stranger than either humans or Vordelians had imagined. The child with the remarkable last name had shown him that resistance to change was futility itself. The future would belong to those who could adapt, who could see beyond ancient prejudices to recognize new possibilities. As he prepared to face the council, Zaxos touched the small quantum pendant Ariadne had created for him, a token that existed in multiple probability states simultaneously. In one reality, perhaps he would be stripped of rank and exiled. In another, he might become the architect of a new era of interspecies cooperation. But in all potential futures, one thing remained constant. Humanity had proven itself worthy of the stars, and the name Novastorm would be remembered across the galaxies as the catalyst that brought two ancient enemies together in pursuit of something greater than conquest. The baby who had changed everything slept on, dreams filled with quantum possibilities only she could see.